It's been a few years now since I discovered Jason Isbell, and it has been a great discovery. Every album of his includes several gems, and I'm really glad that I know him and his music. He is one of the more talented, if not the most talented songwriter around, as well as a great guitar player. It's difficult to pick one album to represent his work because they are all great. So I've decided to pick one based on my personal story. Hi all, this is Luca speaking on Music Fingerprints, and in this video I want to talk to you about an album that means a lot to me, from one of the best artists we can find around and his fantastic band. If you happen to know him and appreciate his music, let me know in the comments, and in any case, if you find the content interesting, please consider liking this video and subscribing to the channel. I sometimes find myself complaining about contemporary music, since pop and mainstream are now a little far from what I genuinely like. I prefer music that is played with real instruments. I like to hear lyrics that mean something, rather than, the same sentence repeated ad libitum or auto-tuned vocals on a beat that is the same for 90% of the songs. I'm not a snob, I also enjoy some of these tunes, and I understand that music is always in evolution, and what matters is people expressing themselves. On the other hand, I've developed my taste with the music I've been exposed to in my youth, and it's natural for me to be looking for tunes that resonate with my preferences. And I'm also conscious that what I'm saying now is probably what my parents' generation used to say back in the day when I was a kid. But complaining makes no sense, and if you look closely, it turns out that bands and artists exist that keep a certain kind of music alive. Leave alone the Stones, Alice Cooper, Metallica and other legendary bands from the 20th century, we now have artists like Jason Isbell himself, Joe Bonamassa, John Mayer, Larkin Poe, and there are new groups like Greta Van Fleet and recently Måneskin from Italy that you may like or not, but maintain a certain type of music alive. When I enter this type of discussion, I often think about the 2018 movie A Star is Born that I appreciated when it first came out. I liked it especially for the songs that Bradley Cooper's character plays. And in particular, I fell in love with the one he plays acoustic guitar only in the drag club while he's waiting for Lady Gaga to change dresses and go out with him. Fast forward a couple of years, I was looking for a small tube guitar amplifier and was interested in a little Fender amp. I watched a number of videos on YouTube, and on the Fender channel the demonstration was performed by a guitarist named Sutter Vaden. I heard him play and I thought he was a killer guitar player. I then did some online research to know more about him, and I read that he played for the band Jason Isbell and the 400 Unit, and I thought, what a strange name. Some weeks later, I happened to cross again Jason Isbell's name, and since it rang a bell, I decided to listen to one of his songs. And the song was Cover Me Up, and I was floored. I found it terrific. So I started listening to the Southeastern album almost daily. Little by little, I went through the whole Jason Isbell catalog, and I often keep music as a background to my daily activities anytime I can. And something happened in this case that had never happened before. With Jason Isbell in the background, I frequently found myself stopping what I was doing and thinking, oh, that is a great line. Then stopping the song and listening to it from the beginning with the lyrics in front of me. And this happened many times. I then became familiar with the genre, and one evening with the family we were watching A Star is Born again. Come the club scene, I listened to Bradley Cooper singing Maybe It's Time, and this time when listening to the lyrics, the instant neural connection made me think, oh, this sounds like a Jason Isbell song. The music and the words remind me of him. And the song kept playing into my head, so some days later I googled it and I found it had been written by Jason himself. Southeastern was my introduction to Jason Isbell, and if you have never listened to that album, do it as soon as you can. But the records I listened to closely with higher consciousness about him and his music are the Nashville Sound and, above all, Reunions. So here's the Nashville Sound and here is Reunions. And Reunions specifically was the first album released while I was already a fan. And it's the kind of album that sticks to your memory because you anticipate it, you wait for it to be available, and you then discover it song by song, listening to it again and again. It's also the album whose making is part of the HBO documentary Running with Our Eyes Closed about Jason Isbell that I watched twice and I obviously loved. To see Jason and the 400 Unit live, I then flew to London in November 2022. I went there and returned in a couple of days, but I had to. The concert was great, and obviously many songs were from the last released album, Reunions. And by the way, I just took a couple of pictures during the concert. My phone remained in my pocket most of the time because I wanted to enjoy that experience fully. The album Reunions is, in my opinion, the perfect continuation to Nashville Sound, but it goes more in depth on some topics touched by the previous one. And it has many biographic details from Jason, as it often happens, in songs like Dreamsicle and It Gets Easier. I always praise the work of the 400 Unit because they are all fantastic musicians. Their playing is so great and they provide a solid structure to the sound. They are able to add so many nuances that you feel natural. In every song of the album, you feel like nothing is out of place music-wise, nothing is overdone. You enjoy the full picture, and then if you focus on just one part of the picture, like the bass sound or the hi-hat work or the slide guitar beats here and there, another picture opens that deserves full attention. There's so many layers to like. As for the songs, as usual for Jason, they are very interesting both musically and lyrics-wise. I personally cannot find a weak song from the whole record, but some of the songs stand out for different reasons. What I have done to help is the opening song, and it was the second single released from the album. It is an almost 6 minutes mid-tempo song that has a core bass riff and acoustic guitar strumming that your ears anchor to, while all the other instruments join little by little in a crescendo, and it's beautiful. While Overseas is another wonderful song, it's filled with heavy feelings of a man whose wife left to go overseas, leaving him alone with their daughter. She needed to go, he couldn't follow her, and they're now apart. He remembers the love they had, but he knows his love won't change anything and make her come back. I find both the lyrics and the music wonderful, and it is, I think, a very, very actual topic. Running with Our Eyes Closed has one of the coolest groovy guitar intros accompanied by drums. I love Jason's description of a relationship that is not a fairy tale because reality is never like that, but I find the starting line stunning. Took forever to get you to trust me, like I was feeding a bird from my hand. And if this isn't love, then it must be another answer I don't understand. That's beautiful. The great songwriters are capable of telling you a story that you can relate to, that you can emphasize with, that you think is about you and that seems autobiographical, even if it's not. River is another one of these songs and also one of my favorites. I love the music, and when I first listened to this song, I had this image of love for the only friend and savior that the river is. He says, "The river is my savior, 'cause she used to be a cloud. She is happy just to lay there when she used to be so proud." I then listened closely to the words that reveal the thoughts of the character that confesses to the river all is bad actions. And we discovered that in the river, for example, it can wash my head when I've been sinning and wash my knuckles when they bleed, and that the river knows about the children that he orphaned. He reveals he let the river hide the neighbor he killed and the gun that he used to, but he's tired and confused. And I think that the two last verses are the way he comes to realize how it should end and his view on the meaning of life. And by he, I mean the character. The river is my savior, she's running to the sea, and to reach her destination is to simply cease to be. And running till you're nothing sounds a lot like being free, so I lay myself inside her and I let her carry me. And then the music carries us sweetly to the end of the song. It's beautiful. Dreamsicle is another favorite song of mine, both musically and lyrically. The melody is sweet with the usual fantastic work by the band, while the lyrics tell a story that is more bitter than sweet. It talks about separation, divorce, and relocation from the point of view of a son. A son that must leave mess at home and difficult relations with friends and a girl, the need and the will to leave as soon as possible, anticipating the moment even if it's far in time. There's the line, broken glass and broken vows, I'll be 18 4 years from now. With different friends in a different town, I'll finally be free, while his heart is breaking for a girl he won't see again. And if you look at the documentary, this aspect will jump, and you will hear the story also from different points of view. It Gets Easier is another great track, and I'm really into its meaning because, Jason talks about addictions. He was an alcohol addict, but I say that this is true for any addiction, and you work on it, you keep yourself clean, but it's hard work. Every day it's a fight, and you must live one day at a time. And the title and the main chorus, it gets easier, but it never gets easy. I think it's a simple yet great line. And then we have the last song, Letting You Go, that is it's dedicated to his and his wife's daughter, and it's a lovely tune that as a father I'd like to have written. Every parent, I'm sure, can see himself or herself singing this song. The song is so sweet and tells the fears and the sense of inadequacy that parents have when a child enters home, to the point in the future when she'll be someone else's wife and they will have to let her go. As a parent, you live your life trying to step back sometimes, and the age of your child really doesn't matter. It's almost impossible to rank Jason Isbell's albums because they are all great. Weathervanes, the last one, has been released a couple of months ago, and it's a great album as well. But I wanted to let you know about Reunions because I have a special relationship with it, and it includes so many excellent parts. And I suggest you to listen to this album with the booklet or the lyrics in front of you, immersing yourself in the music, and I'm sure it will be a great experience. And let me know what you think in the comments below, and thank you for watching this video. I'm Luca, hoping to meet you here again on Music Fingerprints for the next videos.